Okay, guys, 2023 just finished, and we had a good round of films that just came out. I'm gonna let you guys know what my top 10 picks are. This is very subjective to me. Maybe it hit me in a time that I really needed it. Maybe it was a really good story. Maybe technically it was more pleasing to my eyes. This is my picks, and I'm very excited to share these picks. Okay, so number 10, número 10, we have A Man Called Otto. Came out earlier in the year, and it was very surprising because those early films usually aren't that good. Film studios leave, a premiere of a film to be released earlier in January or February because they don't think it's going to be good. But this story was really profound. It follows an elderly man who's in a stage of grief, and he has these new Hispanic neighbors that come to live next to him. And it's just a really good story of the warmth of other people and how this small adventure could really affect someone. It was really, really sweet story. Good performance by Tom Hanks. Good performances by the people who played his neighbors. Definitely left this story teared up. Porque sí está pesado. Number 9, we have Gran Turismo. This is not a video game adaptation, even though it has a video game title. This is a story of Jan Mardenborough. Real life story. It's really crazy. He played video games all his life. Working class young man. His father, he works in the factories. And then Jan Mardenborough is amazingly good at the video game Gran Turismo. He has dreams of becoming a race car driver, unrealistic to anyone except him. And then comes this opportunity, which is crazy. Like it actually happened where Gran Turismo was okay, you're really good at the video game. Can you be good at actually racing a real car? We're going to give you guys a chance. And Jan Mardenborough was one of the 90,000 applicants who signed up for this. And out of those 90,000, he came out on top. So this story follows him. It follows his, I don't know if the sports terminology is his coach, but the character who David Harbour plays him really well. It's this ex-Formula driver. He's had his own issues with the sport where he's had his own dreams crushed in it. So he's got that toughness. He shows his tough love to Jan Mardenborough. This story was really good. It had many beats in here that I did not expect. Very surprising acting from Archie Mareque and really good acting from David Harbour. Please go check it out. It's a really good feel-good film. Honestly, you'll leave it and te vas a sentir bien. You're gonna feel good. Number 8, we have Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. That's like the longest title ever. This is the 7th installment of the Mission Impossible franchise. I'm a huge fan of the franchise. Huge fan of Tom Cruise. I do believe he's one of the few superstars that people will go to a movie that he's in purely because he's in it. This guy has come out with Top Gun Maverick last year and now this one, and he's just on a roll. I think it's very shocking that he's above 50 and doing the things that, I don't know, like people in the 20s can't do this stuff. Let's talk about the story. This follows Ethan Hunt and his IMF team, and they have to track down an artificial intelligence weapon before it falls into the wrong hands. This movie was the most emotional I've ever felt invested into a Mission Impossible film. There's a really nice scene with Benji in an airport. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I really appreciated that scene because it gives me insight to the characters. So, that being said, this is the most in depth I felt the writers really gave the characters. And while it's not like Manchester by the Sea, it is good for an action film. Really good stunts. In my order, I would have to put it in second place. The sixth one is still, in my opinion, barely above it, but this one was really good. Please go check it out. Number 7, we have The Killer. This film was directed by David Fincher. This guy directed The Social Network, Seven, Fight Club. I mean, he's like an A student in the film industry. He's amazing, incredibly talented, a perfectionist. I mean, if you know anything about him, you'll hear that some of his scenes take 60 to 80 shots. Reminds me a lot of Stanley Kubrick. Very meticulous, and you see it in this film. This film follows an assassin played by Michael Fassbender, who, after a job gone wrong for the first time in his career, he goes on a hunt for his employers, motivated by revenge. You see how he has to battle his own philosophy and physical obstacles. There's a specific fight scene that I really was a huge fan of. The director does this amazing thing with the sound editing where the sound pops off and the movie does this thing where all the movies do, where you hear that beep and the fight is still going, but you still feel the blows. Really good fight scene. This film contains one of my favorite first 30 minutes in any film. It was so well done and it's very gripping and I love it. Please don't go into this movie expecting an action thriller. It is not that. I would call it a unique character piece, but it's not an action thriller. It's not John Wick, but there are many things to appreciate from this film. Okay, so number 6, we have Oppenheimer. This film was made for cinema. I mean, I I was blessed with the opportunity of watching this in 60 millimeters here in Dallas in the IMAX theater, the way it was meant to be seen in the biggest theater. I have never been to a theater where the screen had such vertical length. It was so different and you could just tell everyone really felt everything that was coming from the screen. This film, if you do not know, it follows J. Robert Oppenheimer. He is the father of the atomic bomb. It follows him as a college student to then becoming the main scientist behind the Manhattan Project. And then and then and then and then in the last hour it became more of a courtroom drama. Amazing performances by Robert Downey Jr. This guy did not have to come in with this like uh, how can I describe it? I don't know, but every single scene Robert Downey Jr. was in, my eyes were always on him. He stole almost every single scene, and that's saying something because all the actors in this film are top notch. There are actors, amazing actors, who are in the film just for 5 minutes, but I know that they're in there because they just want to work with Christopher Nolan. Amazing direction. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be up there for the Oscar. I'm sure of it. And I know Killian Murphy, oh my God, Killian Murphy will definitely be there. Huge fan of his since Peaky Blinders. So happy to see him here. This is a movie that talks about the disastrous consequences of war without actually showing it. Really good movie. Please go check it out. Number 5, we have Radical. This film was very dear to my heart because it takes place in Matamoros, Tamaulipas, Mexico. I'm from the 956 area, so I'm very familiar with that place and with the people there. So this story is based on a true story. It's about a teacher played by Eugenio Derbez. He steps into this school full of neglect, full of corruption, and just full of adults and leaders that are not looking out for the kids there, the youth. And this movie talks a lot about the obstacles that unfortunately kids there have to go through, whether it's a crime or the corruption or just the immensely unfortunate circumstances that they just happen to be born in. This film is very uplifting while at the same time having beats and moments that were very unexpected and heartbreaking. It was a hard watch at times, but I think needed. This is a really good performance by Eugenio Derbez. I mean, he has become this phenomena of an actor. He started off in comedy and now he's in drama and he's shown Hollywood what he could do. And this is an amazing example of his abilities of as an actor, as a performer. He continues to push himself and I really admire that. By the end of the film, you have been exposed to many things that maybe are hidden or thrown under the rug by the education system. But this is a really good example of how one's positive faith is intoxicating. And even though it's to small kids, you just see how the kids lead the adults many times in this film. Very inspiring movie. Please go check it out wherever it's available. It requires a lot of support, especially because it's a foreign movie, but it definitely deserves it. Godzilla -1. This film was very surprising. I did not expect this level of awesomeness to come from a Godzilla film. Last one I had seen was it was okay. But this one really blew my expectations. It is a Japanese film. You can watch it subbed if you choose to do so. It portrays Godzilla in a very interesting way, where he's definitely the prime antagonist. You cannot root for this guy because he personifies disaster, chaos, and the trauma that the Japanese culture and population went through post World War II. So from this perspective, it just makes Godzilla a way more interesting villain. And the main character is an ex kamikaze pilot. We follow as he stumbles into this family of strangers that you really become emotionally invested in. They have very good chemistry. It's very important for the audience to love the human characters in these monster films. If you don't, you just lose so much from it, and you're just there for a visual spectacle. But this film gave us a strong story and that. And it's just so commendable to do it with only 15 million. Please go support it if you can. Number three, we have Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. This film follows Miles Morales in his sophomore year as Spider-Man as he catapults through the multiverse, and then we encounter the Spot. You see the psychological differences on how to handle this threat. The first film, as I've stated before, is one I appreciated more than I loved, but this film I really do love, man. The characters are really what got me. Miles just shows his grit and his determination to do the right thing, and it's in many ways prioritizing his family. It's very admirable, and the animation is just so good. It's everything that was great about the first film, and even more. The animators deserve so much credit because they went all out. And Miguel O'Hara poses an interesting antagonist. If you're gonna watch this film, it's out on Netflix. Expect a cliffhanger. I'm very excited for the third movie slash part two to this film. I can't wait. Okay, my next two movies, my top two, take them as if I'm presenting both as my top one. I cannot pick one over the other. Number two, The Iron Claw. This film follows the story of the wrestling family, the Von Erichs. This was a very famous wrestling family based on a true story that went through a lot of tragedies. And this film follows the journey of the brothers, the Von Erich brothers, one of them being Kevin Von Erich, who's our protagonist. He's soft spoken but has a heart of gold, while at the same time being built like a mountain. He's played by Zac Efron. He puts his soul into this performance. It was just such an amazing performance, not just from him, but the supporting cast, man. Harris Dickinson, Jeremy Allen White. It takes you through the journey of this family who's so loving to each other. The chemistry is there. The brotherly love is there. The banter is there. While at the same time, so much love for each other. I mean, it really touched me. It's Shakespearean in a sense, the tragedies this family had to go through. Despite that, the film manages to be very hopeful, which is why I left the theater the way I did. Amazing film. It's really gonna stick with me. I cannot see how this doesn't get nominated. Please go support this film. Try to watch it without knowing anything about the Von Erich brothers, and it's gonna be an even more immersive experience. Number one, we have The First Slam Dunk. This film got the Best Animated Feature Award in 2022 for their Japanese Film Awards. It is the anime movie based off the anime series that came out in the 1990s, 1980s. However, this film follows Ryota Miyagi. He's a 17-year-old who struggles to live up to his late older brother's dream of becoming this basketball star. Where do I begin, man? Let's start with animation, which is very elegant and crisp in the sense where the sound editing technically complemented it really well because you just feel so immersed into this basketball game. You feel like you're there. The whole film is one game with multiple flashbacks that are so important and productive from a writing standpoint. None of them are wasted. If you don't learn about the main character, you'll learn about his teammates. This film is a grieving story in a sense. It follows Ryota, who's grieving in his own way while his mother is also put in the forefront. And this film could be heartbreaking while at the same time you're at the edge of your seat, especially at those last 30 minutes. You really want this team to win because the chemistry is there and the characters are so different but so powerful in their own ability and sense. Flawed, yes, but so entertaining. Unfortunately, this film came out and it left the theater in the United States. It's no longer here in the theater, but hopefully it comes out in Blu-ray and DVD, and that'll give us the opportunity to support it because it deserves the support. Please go check out this film if you haven't already. It's an amazing film, and I'm so excited to have more people talk about it because I guess that's something I've been waiting for, right? It came in and out of theater, and honestly, it was a blessing to watch. It was amazing. My pick for best movie of the year. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting my reviews. I really appreciate it. Here's to 2024. And I'm just so grateful. Please like if you like this video and subscribe if you like videos like these. I'll be making more. Please comment on any of these films. I'd love to talk to you about them. Thank you guys. See you soon.